What's going on? Welcome back to Off the Schneid. Today we're taking a look at the LA Chargers, talking about their draft needs heading into the 2022 NFL Draft, which comes in about 2 weeks' time. Keep an eye on the channel for my mock draft 1.0. I only do one mock draft. It should be uploaded on the 22nd. I'm hoping to give you some time to take a look at it and judge it before the actual NFL Draft. But you can see up there the team needs, the draft capital above, lots of dart throws for this team in the 6th, 7th round, and then a little bit of difference maker opportunity in the 1st and 3rd. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about the quarterback position. I won't talk about coaching. It's, Brandon Staley's team. This team is very quality. I'll say we're actually right off the hop. When they brought in Khalil Mack and JC Jackson, I started thinking Super Bowl for this team. This is a very good team, I think. And again, with Brandon Staley running that defense and the way that this offense looks, I would have Super Bowl aspirations if I'm a Chargers fan and if I'm in that locker room. So this is a very, very good team. I'm not sure if I'll pick them to do that, that's for sure, but we'll see. I do like them to win this division right off the hop. We'll see what happens. We'll see what I actually pick and keep an eye out for those videos down the road. So again, starter quarterback, Justin Herbert is obviously the guy. He's fantastic. 6th overall pick, which was a steal at this point in his career from what we've seen. Obviously, I think, if the Dolphins had taken Tua, they would be that much better. And then if Tua were here, this team would be in a bit of a tougher spot. Personally, that's how I see it. Backup quarterback Chase Daniel comes back. He's been a quality backup his entire career. No reason to think he'll be any different. Former, I believe, North Dakota State Bison Easton Stick, former fifth round selection. He's still here as well. Runs the ball a little more. I'm not sure he can quite get it done in the passing game, but they got Chase Daniel just in case anything happens there. They might need to look towards, I'm not worried this year with Chase Daniel, but eventually they might have to add a quality backup quarterback, but really not a concern. I barely worth mentioning if I'm being honest, but I just did. So there you go. Move over to the running back position. Austin Eckler is the guy for sure, but if I'm the Chargers in like the 5th, 6th round, I'm looking for a big body goal line back. Joshua Kelly and Larry Roundtree might be that guy, but I'm not just handing the job over. If a guy like Hassan Haskins is there late, Kevin Harris is there late, in the 6th round or something, I'm pulling the trigger there. Austin Eckler has never been a 1,000-yard rusher. Not that he can't do it. He's an absolute specimen in the gym and everything like that, but he's more of your pass-catching back. He is a 3-down back, don't get me wrong, but he does so much of everything that you got to spell him. And we see a lot of that when we watch Chargers games. Joshua Kelly, Justin Jackson, Larry Roundtree, they all get some reps. So, there's going to be some play there for another running back. I think they're going to have to add one regardless. But for me, I'm looking at a big body goal line type of a back that can be, your closer and get in the end zone on, 3rd and 1 sort of a thing. Gabe Neighbors, fullback, sure, he plays a little bit, catches a few balls. I do like fullbacks, but he's not one of my guys. But he's okay in this offense, I suppose. We'll move over to the tight end position. Gerald Everett comes in, replaces Jared Cook, former vet with another solid vet. I think he can be more than fine for this team, for what this team needs their tight ends to do. And then Donald Parham is that goal line, go up and get it, friggin' 7 feet tall, big body, former basketball player. We all know what Donald Parham can do. Hopefully he's all right. He missed the rest of the season after coming down hard on his head. That was pretty terrible to watch, and hopefully everything's all right and he can get back to where he needs to be. There's no reason to think he won't. And then Trey McKitty rounds it out, former 3rd round pick. I didn't particularly like that pick at the time, but, he can do some good things for this team, and it is what it is at this point. I'll let it go. We'll move to the offensive line. From center to left tackle is fantastic. Corey Linsley, Matt Filer, and Rashawn Slater was fantastic last year. That's more than fine. More than fine. That's very, 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 very good. Right guard and right tackle are not in a good spot whatsoever. They have to address it, I think, and they have to address it with 17th overall. I think Brendan Hymas, I think Brendan Hymas can be, maybe can be. He's going to get a shot. I think he deserves an opportunity to, compete for that starting right guard spot. Not that he's going to win it or he should win it or anything like that, but I think he deserves an opportunity to get a shot at winning it. They could add a guy in 4th, 5th round, something like that. And realistically, that's what I'm focusing on in the draft is my offensive line, because everywhere else you're more than fine. You can get by certainly, but you need, especially like I said, 17th overall. If a guy like Trevor Penning is still there, he's probably my favorite offensive lineman in this year's draft. If Trevor Penning's there at 17th overall, I pull the trigger, put him at right tackle. Hopefully Brendan Hymas can win that right guard job, and there's your offensive line and you're settled. That's what I would be hoping for, if I'm a Chargers fan and if I'm Justin Herbert. You're going to need that bookend right tackle, because realistically what they have now just will not get the job done, and they're going to need that depth as well. So I have right tackle and right guard as my top two needs. Whether Brendan Hymas wins that or not, they're still going to need some depth all along the offensive line. They're going to need an interior swing guy. They're going to need a swing tackle. Whether they can, I don't know if they can add all of that in this year's draft, but you have to add a starting right tackle that you're more than comfortable with heading into the NFL season. And that might just be Trevor Penning, but we'll see. Move over to the wide receiver position. Keenan Allen, still habitually one of the more underrated wide receivers in the game. He can do it all, catches 100 passes, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, something like that. It's like clockwork. And I'm a huge fan of Keenan Allen personally, and I think he's fantastic for this team. So he's still there as your slot receiver. Mike Williams comes back on, a 3-year deal? 3-year deal, I believe. That was a very good idea to bring him back, I think. Otherwise, you're in a rough spot as far as wide receiver is concerned. But they're more than fine with him on the roster. Josh Palmer was a 3rd-round pick last year. He played well. They have a lot of those support guys. So I think, actually I'll get to this guy in a second, but they have Jalen Guyton still there. Like I said, Josh Palmer, Joe Reed, former 5th-round pick. Those guys can all be the piece it together guys and just keep it going with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. One guy that they brought in that is an extremely underrated grab, in my opinion, is DeAndre Carter. That was a very good grab, man. That's a very, very quality player. He walks into your building, becomes your primary punt and kick returner. He's even run the ball a little bit last year. He had 10 rushes for 89 yards with only a long of 27 yards. So a lot of times when you see those wide receivers that have some success running the ball, they'll pop off, a 60-yard run or something like that. But 27, 8.9 yards per carry, he could run the ball a little bit. He's a weapon. Get him the ball, let him do his thing in space. He had a career season as not only a return man and was I believe, Pro Bowl alternate, but he had a career season last year as a receiver. So I think that was a very underrated, and it's going to pay dividends for this team, I think. So that was a good get by them, and he just kind of rounds out that wide receiver room. So there you go. There's the offense. Let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. Like I said, they got a lot of dart throws to throw at some positions on defense if they're not extremely comfortable. I think they have to attack that offensive line with their upper echelon picks. So we'll talk about this defense. It's like I said, Brandon Staley's defense, which is going to be similar to the Rams, which there's a lot of parallels there now since they brought in J.C. Jackson. And like I said, when they brought in Jackson and Khalil Mack, who does that remind you of? Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey, maybe. Joey Bosa, you could call that Aaron Donald, even though they play different positions and no one's like Aaron Donald except Aaron Donald. But there you go. Like, this defense is very, 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 very good. Jerry Tillery, former first round pick. He needs to keep improving. I think that he's getting there. Austin Johnson played a pretty prominent role for the Giants last year. I think that was a good pickup. Sebastian Joseph Day, former Ram, I think that he can definitely get the job done, and he was a good grab. I think he was on this team last year, but not the year before. Christian Covington, he can definitely get the job done. Chris Rumpf, the second, was a fourth round pick last year. He can spell those guys in Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Moving back, I really want to talk about Kenneth Murray. He was a guy that I absolutely loved in the draft. I thought he was maybe the most pro-ready prospect in the entire draft. I thought he was going to walk into this team and be, a 100 solo tackle guy every year. But I just did the Raiders, episode talking about Denzel Perriman, who's a guy that struggled in this defense, not this defense, but similar defense, and then, moves over to the Raiders and it becomes one of the best linebackers in the game. So we'll see. I don't know if it's just not a defense that, kind of highlights linebackers, but I really would like to see Kenneth Murray take over as, what I thought he would be, and kind of what they drafted him to be, is one of the better linebackers in the NFL. I thought that he would get there, to be honest, by now. And this is the season that I think he's got to take that step. He can move into that leadership role now. Obviously, he's got some other guys to take that kind of pressure off him. Derwin James is phenomenal. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. He's got help there, but, he is going to be the future of this team. Hopefully, that's what he's drafted to be. And you need him to be that leader and take that step. And hopefully he does that this year. No real reason to think he doesn't, but it kind of has to happen. It's kind of now or never for me, for Kenneth Walker. And Kenneth Murray, sorry. And I really, really like Kenneth Murray. Troy Reader's there, another Ram. Nick Neiman, he comes in. Drew Tranquil, he's still there. So they got some guys that can kind of piece it together and be that other linebacker beside Kenneth Murray, as long as he becomes that guy that they need him to be. We'll keep going back. J.C. Jackson, I will never understand why the Patriots did what they did. If I was the Chargers last year, I would have sent a blank check to J.C. Jackson. If I was the Jets, I would have sent a blank check to J.C. Jackson, paid the second round pick, go ahead, take it. I'm getting the best corner in the game. And I do think he is a top 3 cornerback in the NFL right now. Obviously Jalen Ramsey's right there, but J.C. Jackson is fantastic. So that was a great get by them, a phenomenal get to grab J.C. Jackson and just pay him what you need to pay him. It is what it is. He's worth every penny, in my opinion. So that was a phenomenal grab. Trayvon Campbell, he can play. He can absolutely play. He's played well for this team. Michael Davis, he's played very well for this team. He had a good year last year. Asante Samuel was a second round pick last year, and he had a very good rookie season. He should progress and take that next step. Derwin James is a top 5 at least safety in the NFL right now, probably top 3 in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of Derwin James. And then Nasir Adderley, a very good, I think he's more of your strong safety than Derwin James. So I think they kind of have it mixed up here. Derwin James is more of my center fielder, but he can do everything. He is a very good safety all around, very good football player. And then, Nasir Adderley, tackle machine, in the box safety type of guy. So this defense is pretty complete and pretty scary. Like I said, with those late round picks, you might throw a few darts here and there, maybe a pass rusher to help out, be a depth guy, linebacker for sure. Maybe a backup safety you could look at, stuff like that. But again, those prominent high draft picks, that high draft capital, you have to invest in the offensive line, in my opinion, and tackle is where you go at 17th overall. That's how I'm looking at it. Like I said, keep an eye out for my mock draft. It'll be coming out in about a week or so. Keep an eye out for that. I only do one, like I said. But there you go. Like I said, this team is going to have Super Bowl aspirations, and I think I will probably be picking them to win this division as long as they settle that offensive line, just those two positions, at least provide some competition for Brendan Hymas at the right guard, and then bring in an actual right tackle that's going to be your guy for the right now and future. And then this offensive line looks great with Rashawn Slater, and if it is Trevor Penning, we'll get there when we get there. But there you go. That's it. There's your draft prep breakdown, depth chart breakdown for the LA Chargers. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you on the next video.